Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, the #1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
Hey everybody, this is Sean V. Bradley. I am the CEO. Oh, I'm not just kidding. My wife is the CEO. I'm just the president of Dealer Synergy, and I'm the creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman Group. And this is the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. And I know what you're thinking. Where's L.A. Williams? Well, there's not enough room. Okay, so there's me, there's Karen Bradley, and there's the $1 billion the $1 billion girl. All right, that's an inside joke. I don't know what that is. It's all good. But all kidding aside, this is Sean V. Bradley, the Millionaire Car Salesman, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. And we've got a special edition of the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast up in the house. I've got special guest speakers. I've got Toni Anne Fardette, the $1 billion girl. Actually, the woman, but you know what I mean? Like it flows better off the tongue, $1 billion girl. And we've got my queen, Karen Bradley. All right, so ladies, say what's up. Let's start with Toni Anne. Say hello to everybody.
Hey, everyone. Thank you for watching. We're excited with what we're going to bring to you today.
Okay, and Karen?
Hey, guys. Karen Bradley. And again, thank you for joining us. And we are excited to share with you some big news, which you may have already kind of heard a little bit about it here and there. But, you know, we want to definitely kind of elaborate and give you guys some more details.
All right, so what are we going to talk about today?
Can I see the screen?
Yeah.
So we're here to talk about moms in automotive. So first of all, let's just talk about how the idea was born a little bit. So you're not going to be able to see her because, like Sean said, it's a little too crowded. But I do have my director of training and process here with me today, Trish Brett. And Trish in the house. Just say hello, even though they
Hello. Hi, everyone.
So yeah, a little background on Trish. So Trish has been in the automotive industry about 8-9 years now. She started out with me as she was one of my BDC managers at Atlantic Auto Group, which I think most of the MCS group knows that that was where I got my start. That was a 23 rooftop group, $1.1 billion organization, top 10 dealer group in the United States. And I was fortunate enough that Trish came with me when I started BDG. So Trish, honestly, the reason I wanted to include her in this first podcast episode is because she really helped this idea, moms in automotive, be born. You know, there's been a lot of things, and I say this all the time. I try to stay out of, you know, the industry nonsense. With that being said, there's one thing that you guys know, being friends with me, right? Not just that we work together, but you're friends with me. There's one thing that really, really is a pet peeve of mine that I sometimes can't stay out of, and that one thing is family, and when there isn't proper work-life balance, but there are some people in the industry that try to pretend that there is and there isn't, and it's very frustrating to me. And so I had seen a couple of things here and there going on, you know, with regards to that, and it really started bothering me. And so I started thinking, you know, what about all these moms, these real moms in automotive? You know, like me and Karen, who are not only successful in their careers, and in some cases, like us, super successful in their careers, but also are able to achieve that real work-life balance. So I was talking to Trish about it, and it just so happened that her son, Trish is a new mom, by the way, so everybody congratulate Trish. Okay. She's a new mom. She just had her first baby, Jack. In fact, we call him Jack Billion because he was almost born in the office. He was almost born in the office. Yep, because, you know, she's such a savage beast, Trish, that she refused to like leave the office. She didn't even think she was in labor, and we were like, girl, you got to go to the hospital. Like, you're about to have this baby in the office. So Jack, what is Jack, 5 months old now?
Yes, 5 months, 5.5 months.
So 5.5 months old. You know, she only took off, you know, eight weeks of work. You know, came back, and Jack got really, really sick a couple weeks ago. And so me being, you know, the family-oriented person that I am, she's all stressed out. How's she going to make it work? I'm like, bring the kid to the office. Like, we'll figure it out, you know, because I know she's a hard worker. And literally, we were like still working, taking turns, She was doing phone trainings. I'm holding the baby. Stephanie, my assistant's taking the baby over when we're both on a conference call. Like, we just made it work, right? Like, what's your motto, Sean? Fitfo, right? We just figured it out. We just had to figure it out. So then Trish posted on social media about this, and I'll let her tell you a little bit about that. And that's how the idea was born. And of course, then we wanted Karen's involvement because she's the super mom in Wonder Woman. That's who she is, Wonder Woman mom in automotive. So we wanted to include her in this. So Trish, tell us about how it came about when you just randomly posted your feelings about that situation.
So that was a good introduction. So I am a first-time mom, but regardless of the fact, becoming a mom completely changes you as a person. So I was pretty much and I still am pretty savage, but I was even worse before I had a baby, and it completely changes you. And there's nothing more important to me in this world other than my child. Like, that is the most important thing to me. Everything is second to that. So when he got sick, and ultimately because he's in daycare, I have no family here other than the family that I've made through work and Toni Anne and my husband's family. But so I really don't have the help that maybe some do. So it's just kind of got to figure it out. So I was very stressed out, and Toni Anne let me bring Jack to work with me because my job is also very important to me, and becoming successful on my own, not relying on my husband, who does have a successful career in the car business, but making my own path in life. So I brought Jack here with me, and we all took turns, and as an appreciation for the gratitude that Toni Anne did show to me, and kind of like the family member that her and her family has become to me, I kind of just posted about what it's really like, what our day was like that day, and kind of, how lucky I am to have a boss. And I mean that in, again, I said this in multiple ways, in so many ways. She's not just a boss in the business, but she is at home in her family life and what she does with her children. But she also has an understanding that your children and your family are most important. So I kind of just created it as like a appreciation. And it just made us really want to show the kind of the world that you can be a parent first, a mom first, and still have your own life, have a balance, eat healthy, organize your work, be successful, and have a career for yourself while also still putting your family as a priority number one.
Yeah, and let's just call it what it is. When she says we wanted to share it, Karen, how did it really happen? She posted it. Sean jumped on it, as Sean normally does, shared it to, his 9 million followers, and then was like, guys, I created Moms in Automotive, you're admins now, right? At 10:30 p.m., right?
Okay, we got thrown in.
Did I get it right? I'm pretty sure that's how it happened.
Absolutely.
You know what it is? I have really good instincts, and I just admire what you all are doing. Just as females in our industry and moms in the industry. And I just, something clicked. I was like, this needs to be formed. This needs to be, vocalized. Let me digress. This is actually a perfect transition point. Just yesterday in the Millionaire Car Salesman group that we're streaming out of live right now, I was very disappointed. There was a woman who had said, she was doing really well. She's like, listen, I was told by my coworkers the only reason why, I sell cars because I got tits and an ass. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, my daughter, who's 20 years old, is a showroom sales consultant. And it bothers me, just as a parent, as a husband that adores his queen, that there's still stupidity in the world. Just like we think that, in 2019, there shouldn't be racism. There shouldn't be, certain stupidity that exists. There's still stupidity in our industry. And I want you three ladies to just talk about that. Let's gradually, ease back into the mom stuff. Let's just go one layer less than a mom. Let's just talk about just being a woman in the automotive industry and what that reality is like. Toni Anne, can you start there? Because you worked in New York, in Long Island, with 23 rooftops. What would you say the paradigm is in car dealerships towards women in the automotive industry?
I think it's two different things. I feel like there's like the one end of the spectrum and the other end of the spectrum, one extreme or the other extreme. And I think the extreme that and I didn't see that post yesterday in the group, but that woman posted, that's the one extreme, because it still is, I don't care what anybody says, to a certain extent, a good old boys club, right? And so then what winds up happening is you're either viewed as being only able to sell or only able to be successful because of the way that you look or because of what people perceive as your benefits being a woman, or, the other extreme, which would be, in a position similar to what my position was at Atlantic. I was the only female corporate executive. Every time there was a corporate meeting, there were 23 male GMs, 23 male fixed ops directors, a male attorney, a male chief information officer, 3 male owners, and Toni Anne. And that was my life for 10 years. And I loved them all to death, and I had a great relationship with them. But I think that is not the norm. The norm is that when you do become super successful, I think then the perception is that the successful woman must be, for lack of a better term, like a bitch, right? That's what you always hear. Because that's the only way, in their brain, I'm not saying I believe this, but in their brain, that's the only way for you to have made it as far as you did. And I think that it is a struggle, and this may even be something Tiana might be experiencing, because I was a little younger than her when I started in the car business. I was 18, but it's rough, especially being that young, because it's like, you don't want to have to come across as someone who's a hard ass, right? But at the same time, you need to, demand the respect so that you're viewed based on the work that you put out and not the fact that you're a woman in what still is, whether we like it or not, primarily, a man's business. It still is. I mean, I still get phone calls from customers with some of my dealer clients where they will actually specifically request to speak to a salesman.
Wow.
And when the woman BDC agent or salesperson says, "I'm in sales, sir, I can help you," they will say, no, a salesman, a man. This is still what we deal with today. And then right now, to segue into the mom thing, now couple that with being a mother, and then you got to deal with that, which is if your kid gets sick and you have to leave work or you have to step out for an hour because it's your kid's field day or something, you're then sometimes looked upon by other employees, usually males, like you're getting special treatment or whatever the case might be because you're trying to do both, and then tie that into the fact that we talk about the fact that we know we need to recruit more women into the industry, but we can't. And I think a lot of that has to do with, our perception of what the car business schedule needs to be. To me, the schedule should be based on performance and production, not how many hours you work, especially when we're in an industry where we know that most salespeople only actually work 2 hours for every 8 hours they're sitting in the dealership. So my philosophy is, I don't care if it's a woman or a man, if they can produce more in 4 hours, would it take somebody else to produce in 8? Whose problem is that? That just leads into them maximizing their time, as Karen can speak more to because of the, her KB time maximization methods that obviously work. So I think that there's a lot of things that need to change. And again, we wanted to, when this idea was born, we basically wanted to, the main mission, although we haven't fully thought it out yet, was how do we empower women who take their automotive career seriously, but are also moms too, right? And both of those things are equally important. And then not just to talk about it, but to be able, starting with the Facebook group, but there's more that we're going to be introducing, to be able to offer different tangible and practical ways that they can do that instead of just talking about it in theory.
No, 100%. I was just trying to find that post. There's so much traffic on that page. It was kind of hard to kind of go through. Karen, what's your opinion though?
So I feel like I have a little bit of a different perspective. I've obviously have experienced it when I first started with Dealer Synergy. As we all know, if you listen to the podcast that I had done before, I kind of started from the ground up. So I was a salesperson for Dealer Synergy, so going into dealerships and trying to pitch our services, I definitely did experience that. But being a consultant and trainer and working within Dealer Synergy, I do feel like I'm very blessed because I have a really strong man behind me, pushing me and kind of as my partner. So I feel like in my case, I've definitely experienced it, but I think with you working directly in the dealership, it's a little bit different. But I will say that, you know, kudos to all the men that I have been able to, you know, beyond Sean, you know, the Scott Pecksteins, or, you know, just the different people within the industry that have looked at me more than just a female and as some type of liability, but more as an equal.
Yeah, but I think you raised a good point, and Karen, I'm glad you brought that up, because we have some strong women on the vendor side in the Moms in Automotive group, right? We have Carrie Weiss, Brianna Fisher, to name a few. I mean, right, like some strong women on the vendor side. And I'd be interested to see, and this could be a future podcast for us, but I think that you brought up a great point, which is, what do you experience as a mom in automotive on the vendor side when you have to go in as a woman to pitch your services to a man, right? Which is primarily who you are, and then how seriously are you taken? You know, being an attractive woman, you know, do they take you seriously, or do they think that, you know, the only right, like, oh, they only sent her in here because she's pretty, right? I feel like it, you know, how does that work?
Let me jump in. Let's keep it 100. This is Sean Bradley here. I'm telling you, and it has nothing to do with the South, but I just, off the top of my head, I was in, hold on, what town exactly? This was in Tennessee. I'm in Tennessee, and I'm sitting there with the dealer principal, okay? Karen knows this story, okay? And we're sitting there with the dealer, and we're asking about this marketing, and he turned around and said to me point blank, he said, listen, Sean, I don't know what the hell these people do or not, but I just really love it when they send them cute reps to come in and talk to me. Like, I'll spend like an hour with them, and they seem so sweet. Nice. I'm looking at a grown-ass man, a multi-millionaire running a multi-million-dollar business, and he says point blank that, like, he looks forward to the cute little reps that come in, the girls, to spend some time with his old ass and stuff. It's crazy. So, you know, I think that our industry perpetuates some of the bullshit, though. You know what I mean? And that's the truth, is that if we want things to change, whether they're for women, they're for men, they're for minorities, they're for whatever, we have to be the change that we're looking for. It has to start with, you know, us. I'll give an example. As vendors, Karen and I talked a while ago about this, and Toni Anne, you know, at NADA, it's getting a little bit better, but like, let's just say 5-6 years ago, they had nothing but booth babes. That's all there were these, like, you know, these model chicks that would be there that kind of shepherd the dumbass guys there. But me and Karen personally talked to female dealer principals and GMs, and actual real serious men GMs that say, look, it's insulting to us that these stupid vendors want to hire these booth babes or these models because they think we're stupid to go through. And I'm like, they're not doing it by accident, because some dealers are stupid and some dealers do gravitate towards those booth babes. So my whole point here is that if people want change, we have to start living the change that we're looking for, like now, not just hope that it's going to magically happen. Karen, I want you to touch on that.
No, definitely. But I will also say that in the most recent years, you don't see the booth babes quite as much.
No, that's why I said. That's why I said things have changed. Like, they're starting to change.
Yeah. So I think people are starting to realize, like Sean said, that it's actually almost reflecting on you in a negative manner when you're assuming that by having, you know, so-called pretty booth babes at your booth, that someone's going to come in and spend money with you just because there's attractive females.
I'm the booth babe at Dealer Synergy's booth. Just so you understand that. I'm the booth babe.
Yeah.
You are. You are.
So people,
especially with that new hairstyle, you look unbelievable.
Look at that. Look at that. So there. Look at that.
I think
no, I'm sorry, Karen, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say, so I do think that there is a shift that's happening. I do think that people are starting to become wiser, especially like you said, Toni, and, you know, having females working at the dealership, just by saying, you know, oh, she's a mom, we almost looking at it like a weakness, like, oh, she's probably gonna have to leave all the time for her kids, or sick, or they've got activities, or this, that, or the other thing. But switching that paradigm and saying that, no, moms are good at balancing. Moms are good at getting things done. Moms are good at fit-foing and figuring things out. So give us the opportunity, and like you said, Toni, and maybe you might have to leave one day early or come in late because your kid has a play or, a sports activity, but you're effective. And that's what's most important, is getting the bottom line results, right? At the end of the day, as a business owner, you're a business owner, I'm a business owner. If someone can promise me the same results or more in less time, what do I care?
Right.
Wait a minute. As a guy, I've never thought of it that way, though, Karen, and you're my wife. Up until you just said it right there, like, moms are freaking resourceful. Moms can keep it gangster, and they can be sexy as AF. You know what I mean? So
yeah. What did you say, Toni Anne? You're balancing Jack on one leg, right? And to Trish, like, we got this. Give us the opportunity, and we'll prove that we can do it.
Yep. Pitch the new client and have them sign, holding the baby with the bottle at the same time. How about that?
Love it.
But let's talk about that for a second, and especially for Trish, because her and you guys have been in the dealership a lot more recent than we have. I mean, like, I haven't been, like, I left the dealership world like over a decade ago, obviously. You know what I mean? Like, you left about a couple years ago, but I think that dealers are slowly, making the change, but not fast enough for their scheduling, because there's a lot of archaic mentality out there that whether you're in the BDC or your showroom, you have to work like bell to bell X amount of time. You have to work on Saturdays. And some of this shit is just not feasible if you are a parent, and especially, I hate to say it though, I grew up with a single mom, and there are single moms that are out there in the automotive industry. And if you think about it, what's sad is that the automotive industry is one of the few places that a fucking single parent, a single mom, could not just make ends meet, that could actually develop like wealth, prosperity, success, pride, all sorts of stuff. And because of the stupid archaic scheduling and mentality, some of these potentially amazing women, these single parents, are never able to enter our industry because of these things. Right or wrong, Toni Anne?
No, I agree. And I'm going to let Trish speak to that point, because she still keeps in touch with a lot of people that have worked for us in the past, back when we were still in retail, as BDC agents or salespeople. And I feel like once a week you're telling me, and we don't have to mention people's personal business, but so-and-so, wants to get back in the industry but can't work the hours because they just had a baby. I mean, how often is that happening?
Yeah, so, I have a couple of friends that I still talk to, one of which has 2 children, young. One of them would be in actual school, but the other one is probably not even 2 years old yet. And she loves the dealership industry. She loves the automotive industry. She likes, she particularly worked in BDC. She was a great BDC representative, very reliable, very good, did her job, got a lot of people in the door. But the sad thing is that, unfortunately, due to the fact that she's such a dedicated mother, for her to be able to get back into the actual dealership retail side would be nearly impossible, because the conflict of schedule for her is that, she has to always put her kids first as far as making sure that they're taken care of. But on their side of it, they're saying, well, that doesn't work for us because you can't work on a 10-hour day on a Saturday because you have to be home with your kids because your husband travels for work. You can't get back into the retail side of it. And it's really sad to me, because then that just makes me want to recruit them on our side of it whenever we develop and we grow, because I want those type of people that were so good at their job to be on my team, because that only makes me better. So I reach out to them and, see what I can do. We added them in the Moms in Automotive group, and they share some amazing thoughts and things like that as well. But yes, it's a very, very sad thing that we have these interviews with potentially losing people.
But Trish, basically what we're saying, like, I get it, but when you look at Ali Rada, the #1 car salesman or saleswoman or sales alien, doesn't matter. He's the #1 salesperson on the planet, literally on planet Earth, to sell cars. Yeah. He only works Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. And we've talked about this before. Trish, I'm sure you know this, you can validate too, especially from both your husbands being in automotive management, is that most dealers or GMs wouldn't give a flying, what somebody's schedule is if they're doing 30, 40 cars or even 25 cars. So what I don't understand is why do we have to put people through torture or not hire the right people, deal with mediocrity, but yet if we have the right person, there's not one person I've ever come across that says, nah. If they're doing 30, 40 cars, they need to be here bell to bell. They need to work every Saturday. The dealers don't give a shit what their schedule is. As long as they're selling those cars, 1, and 2, their CSI is good, and 3, they're taking care of their customers, there's no issues. So why do you think it's so hard to break the old school mentality that we've got to work Saturdays, we've got to work bell to bells, we've got to do this?
I think because the majority, and I hate to say this, but the majority of the salespeople that they do have, or even the BDC agents, and I'll talk about the BDC a little bit more in just a second, but the majority of those people are the people we're talking about when we say they are on the clock 8 hours, but only work 2 hours out of the 8 hours. So even the salespeople that they think are great because they're selling 25 cars a month or 30 cars a month, they're doing that working 70 hours a week. If you cut that person's schedule down to 30 hours, does that mean that they go from selling 30 cars a month to 15 cars a month? But that just goes back to their time maximization efforts. They're not maximizing their time. Now, speaking of this girl who was a great BDC rep, I'd take her all day. I know you guys would too. You know, Sean, when you go into a store, when you take on a new client, the average number of outbound phone calls a BDC rep makes every day is anywhere from 30 to 50 phone calls. Period, end of story, right? Unless they have a solid process. Now, somebody like you or I goes in and says, okay, you need to be making at least 120, possibly 150, possibly 200 phone calls, and they look at you, like, oh my God, how is that even possible? Now, here's a girl like this who, if she worked 4 hours, would be making more phone calls than their 8-hour rep does, making 30 to 50 outbound phone calls a day, which then obviously we know increases their connections, appointments set, shows sold, and so forth and so on. So do I really care if she can only work 4 hours a day and she's got to go pick her kid up at 2:30? I don't. But yet she has dealerships telling her, because they expect that her results are going to drop, that she has dealerships telling her basically, well, I'm sorry, you can't work here because we need you to fill this schedule.
And they miss out on opportunities.
Yeah.
I also think it's just as simple as, why are you doing that, dealer? Because it's the way it's always been done. I think a lot of it is paradigm, and it's just the way that they've always been doing it. So changing it for them, change for a lot of dealers is scary. So altering hours, is scary. Thinking outside the box in a results-driven mentality versus a quantifiable hours mentality is a different way and scary way of looking at it.
I think you're right. You just should have thought. Toni Anne, trivia. When you think of internet sales trainers, name a couple trainers besides me and you that come to your mind.
Corey.
Okay.
Corey.
David. Kane?
David.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
David.
Now let's go to traditional showroom sales trainers in our industry. Think of it.
Jonathan Dawson.
Okay. Who else?
Corey Mosley also does traditional sales training.
Grant Cardone.
Grant Cardone.
And we're not saying that people are good or bad. It comes from mind, right? Okay.
Yeah.
When you think of third-party providers, like which experts do come to your mind?
AutoWeb.
People. I mean, like people. Like
third-party vendors.
Yes.
You're saying?
Yeah.
Like a Scott Peckstein, Kerry Wise.
Yes. Okay. Now, my question is this: when you think of strong female advocates, there's very few people in the automotive industry, and unfortunately, there's some people that have taken up the flag, so to speak, that are like B players, that are just at the right place, right time. But when you think of a really strong, like female advocate or advocate for women, advocate for moms in automotive, there really isn't any. And that's why I think it's really amazing that you ladies are really starting this thing, because I think when you are writing, blogging, interviewing, talking, teaching, training, you are going to be influencing the industry, because there's a lot of good dealers out of there, and whether they're men or women, that just don't know any better. They don't know how. I mean, shit, I got 2 daughters and a wife, and I got to tell you, every day I'm trying to find the instruction manuals. I have no idea what the hell goes on. And so there's a reason why there's a book, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus, is that there really are two different mentalities. And I think that it's really hard for a man to write or blog or interview and talk about what women want, need, and should have, or what have you, if you're not a woman. So like, it's really good to see finally strong females, successful females, not Facebook fraud successful, but really successful, females that are really kind of championing this cause, because there's a lot of people that don't have a voice. And I think that you ladies are going to be able to give not only a voice, but the solution, because anybody can wave a flag like, hey, but
Correct.
you guys are in position, you could provide the training, the guidance, the information, the structure, all that stuff. Can you talk about that?
So that's a perfect segue, actually, because we've got to probably start to wrap up in a couple. But so that's the whole piece of it. You're 100% right. And so that's what me and Karen and Trish put thought into is, what are the tangible and practical solutions we can give? And not only solutions, because listen, and I know Karen and Trish agree, we don't profess to know everything. We profess to be able to offer what has worked for us to make us, successful as both moms and women who have successful careers in automotive. But the first thing that we also wanted, which is the Facebook group part of it, because this is going to grow beyond the Facebook group, and we'll talk about that too in a few minutes. But the main purpose of the Facebook group was really to provide an open forum for women to vent in a non-judgmental, confidential space about just the daily pressures and struggles that we have as moms trying to balance both. And I think even in its infancy, we've been able to help quite a few moms in automotive with situations like that, where sometimes you just need to speak life into somebody and just, offer a word of encouragement, and it changes their entire outlook. So an open forum, not only for them to vent and share, but also to share what's worked for them, because again, we don't profess to know everything, right? So that was kind of our first order of business. But what we've also been doing, Karen and Trish and I, and we plan to continue doing this not only on the group, but in other ways too, is, just Karen's been offering a lot of practical applications based on her time maximization. She posted something just, this Sunday about her weekly planning and the things that we need to start looking at for the week. And, I'll post different things where I'm showing the difference and split in my area of expertise, which is, how do I get so much accomplished as a business owner, but, still manage to be spiritually healthy. Everyone knows I'm vocal about my Christianity and how I integrate that into my children's lives and things like that. Or cooking. I'm big on cooking and doing those types of things. So, how do I manage to do that? And, Trish and Karen both, healthy but easy, recipes, because that's a huge challenge, right? I mean, not just for moms in automotive, but for any working mother, especially single mothers. I too was raised by a single mom. So, how do you even fit that all in nowadays? It's not like it was when we were kids growing up, right? Where most moms were able to stay home and dinner could be on the table at 5 o'clock. Well, how is that possible? Because best case scenario, maybe you're walking out of the office at 5, and in most cases, you're not walking out of the office at 5. And then by the time you're picking your kids up, or even if you're blessed enough to have somebody that picks them up, but now you're going home and making the dinner, making sure they eat, school starting soon, how do you get the homework done, and then what if your kids are doing extracurricular activities? And, we'll start to talk more about that stuff too as the school season rolls in, but I think that was one of the things that we wanted to be able to offer practically, as well as one-on-one coaching. I know that because, and Karen and I have talked about this, because we care about literally making an impact and making a difference, which is really what this is about for both of us. How can we provide one-on-one coaching sessions with people based on our different areas of expertise? I mean, Karen is a certified personal trainer. Can she work with women who might need to understand, Karen, how are you so successful and you have this business and you have 4 kids and you still manage to work out 4 times a week, or however many times a week she does? I know it's at least 4. It could be 5. I'm losing track. But because she's always exercising in some fashion. So something like that. For me, maybe it's somebody who says, hey, I am a Christian too, but I'm so busy being a mom in automotive. Like, how do you manage to be on the road and still do, kid-friendly devotionals with your kids every night at 7:30 p.m.? Or maybe someone who's not even sure about their faith and says, well, can you give me a little guidance on how I can incorporate that to make myself more spiritually healthy? We all have our different areas of expertise, but we want to be able to offer that one-on-one coaching as well. And then, at some point, maybe even offer some products that will help, right? Like Karen's KB planner or, the skincare line. I mean, those types of things, if we could be able to offer those, and make those affordable for moms in automotive, and make it easy for them since we don't have the time to even worry about that stuff sometimes. Those are the things that I think we're looking to do. Karen, do you want to add something, some of your stuff to that on your areas?
I think you did an excellent job kind of giving everybody the direction of where we plan to go. I will say that I feel like we all are connected in a way with our daily planning in the sense that no 2 days seems to be the same, right? When you're working at the dealership for 12 hours a day, or, as business owners, there's just so much variety in, one day we're here, one day we're not. One day you're doing your, 7:30, devotions?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you're able to be in the house and cook. Sometimes you're not, so again, being able to navigate through all of those different types of activities and being able to really, again, lean on each other as a community and say, hey, I'm facing this situation. What do you guys advise here? Or again, turning to our members for maybe some advice that they may have for us. So again, I'm just really excited about this. I think that this is something that really needs to grow and will grow and make a difference. I think it's really going to make a difference. I don't think it's just going to be another group. I really think that people are going to be able to rely on this group to evolve.
If I may, a couple things. One thing with the Millionaire Car Salesman Group, we have 12,500 members now, and one of the things that I get out of it is the real community aspect. I allow people to share their successes, share their frustrations. I think that what you guys have created, you, Trish, Toni Anne have created with Moms in Automotive is a real group, a community. That's what I was looking for, a community where you guys can share in each other's successes. You can also share in each other's challenges. And I got to tell you, like Trish, I don't know your story, but I know that Toni Anne came from being a part-time receptionist. She, went through adversities, with her family, with her father, the loss of her mother, the challenges with her brother. I mean, just like real life shit. My wife, she was pregnant when she was 16. She had Tiana when she was 17. Her dad went to prison for 3 years. My wife was homeless. So when I just look at the two ladies that I know, Toni Anne and Karina, and I look at them like, holy shit. And I know you guys, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know you guys really well. Toni Anne, we're very close friends, and Karen's obviously my wife, but, for other people in the automotive industry, females, moms that are going through adversity, they're going through tumultuous experiences, they could see that, well, shit, if Karen could go from being homeless to being this, to doing that, if Toni Anne could go from, the loss of loved ones from this, that, the other, to being the $1 billion girl, shit, I got a shot. And that's what I'm excited of in the background, helping you guys with the technology stuff and whatever I can add value to, is that I honestly, sincerely believe that you guys can help, not just with the motivation, but the community aspect, the nurturing. And I think that you, like I said, you have the structure and the resources to really make a difference. And that's what I think is beautiful. Is that you all have an opportunity to make an impact in people's lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one thing to make money and sell cars like candy bars. Like, dude, I'm a grocer. I like to sell shit. But the fact that you can impact people's lives for the better, it's priceless. And I'm really proud of what you guys are doing. I think it's awesome, honestly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I also wanted to touch on what you said. I think also that Toni Anne and I would agree that there's also a sense of vulnerability with our group too. Like, we're not going to sit here and pretend that every single day is perfect and we wake up like that, and everything.
Yes, girl.
Okay, you're throwing the hair flip.
That's why Trisha refuses to get on camera right now. It is not a person.
I'll say hi.
Look.
Rough morning. I was videoing how to make my kid's bottle for the babysitter today, so I had no time to make myself look good.
It's priorities, right? So what's most important. But yeah, even I don't know if you've noticed, I'm sure you have noticed because you commented, Toni Anne, but we've had a couple people that have shared some really like intimate like challenges in their thing. And again, neither one of us is perfect. We have our days too that we can't get it all done, or we're frustrated, or some type of quadrant one thing comes into play and we're just like, we're thrown off. So I'm looking forward to kind of being honest with people as well.
There's too much Facebook fraud out there. There's too much, like, everything is perfect, and it's not. And it's a shame because people look online, and when they see all this content, all this information every day, they're thinking, oh my God, something's got to be wrong with me because I'm working my ass off. I'm doing everything I can do, and I'm not even close to that, because a lot of it is just fiction or good marketing on there. So I like that, the authenticity of what you guys are going to bring.
I agree with that for sure. So I think,
Toni Anne, so talk to us. You are let's talk about the Internet Sales Tour, because that's coming. That's November 11th, 12th, and 13th in Houston. First of all, Karen and I are really honored that you and the $1 Billion Girl, your whole team, are partnering with this event, because it's like our baby. You know what I mean? And so, now that we've got adopted parents here, we're gonna raise it to the next level. You have some really strong vision, and some of it was this panel, as well as the roundtable. Can you talk about who's going to be on this panel so far, and what the purpose of Awesome Women in Automotive is going to be about?
Yeah, so I really wanted to be able to introduce a panel of all females that are still currently working in retail, right? So there will be no vendors on the panel. I'm going to be moderating it. Karen's going to be co-moderating it with me. And in addition to the panel, I'll talk a little bit more about that at the panel in a minute. We're also going to be doing a roundtable and really officially launching Moms in Automotive there as well. So any moms in automotive in the MCS group, by the way, that are watching this, really, comment below or reach out to me or Karen, because there's going to be some big things coming in the way of the announcement. We're going to be doing a breakfast for the moms in automotive there. We're trying to convince Karen to do a morning yoga session or something, so hopefully she does that. So maybe we'll do yoga and breakfast for the moms in automotive. But it's definitely not only going to be super fun, but again, just a place where we can all feel comfortable and share. But in addition to that, mom or not, we're going to have some really powerful females in various positions. And I think that's what's going to make the panel and the roundtable super informative and powerful, is that, we talked around a bunch of ideas, and I didn't want, only dealers or only high-level executives. We wanted to get a good mix of both, right? So, for instance, we've asked Tiana, right, Sean and Karen's daughter, to be on the panel because, as Sean said, she's, 20 years old, just starting out in the car business. But I got to tell you, and I'm not saying this just because we love these guys, but, I mean, she's killing it. And not just killing it in terms of what she's selling, but the things that this 20-year-old, with all due respect, kid, right, to most of us, is willing to do and to put out there in terms of marketing herself. I mean, the letters and the gifts that she's getting from her clients, 6 months, if that, into her auto career. It might not even be 6 months. 4, okay. It, to me, is crazy when you see these veterans, male or female, doesn't matter, that, still can't figure it out. So I think to be able to hear her perspective and hear a fresh perspective is going to be great. But couple that with people that or women rather, that are in corporate level positions, one of which was one of the first female GMs for Penske Automotive Group that now owns her own stores, right? So, I mean, what does that look like? So I can't imagine what it must have been like to be a female GM 20 years ago. It's like today, right? Today it's hard, right? So, I'm sure she's going to have just, nuggets and nuggets and nuggets of insight for us. So a good mix on that, and the roundtable as well, plus the breakfast. So time is of the essence. So if anyone has, and the babies, we're bringing the babies too. So Jack Billion will be there. We're bringing the baby. So make it, right? Moms in automotive, make it a family vacation, figure it out, right? Sometimes we just got to figure it out. So I'm really excited about that. And then just some other things that are coming that we're just tossing around. Moms in Automotive yearly 20 group, maybe a yearly retreat for all the members, 20 group or not. an online university program that's going to cover all these different areas, right? Whether, fitness, time maximization, the spirituality, all of that stuff. So we have a lot of really strong things in the works that Karen, Trish, and I have been just in the lab really just working diligently on. And I think that this is going to be more than just a group. I really think it's going to be a moms in automotive movement, not only for the current moms in automotive, but for those that, to Sean's point, would love to be in automotive, but can't right now because they're not sure that they'll be able to be a mom and work in automotive.
Or people that want to become a mom and they're afraid that they can't because of the time.
Yeah, great point. Yeah, great point. Absolutely. So I'm really excited. I'm super excited, and I'm looking forward to what we have to come. You want to close us out, Sean?
Well, listen, I just got to say, I just love watching, really talented people, man, female, whatever, and just what you guys are doing. Again, synergy is defined as two or more agents that come together are greater than individual effects. So when you bring a Trish and a Toni Anne and a Karen Bradley together, that synergy is going to be amazing. But then all the people, all these moms that are joining the group, they also bring their individual value, experience, essence. And I cannot wait to just see. Toni Anne, look at when we clicked up and what happened. If it wasn't for freaking Toyota manufacturer, God only knows what our lives would be like. You know what I'm saying? And so I just can't wait for when you guys really start to form Voltron in your group, how much synergy and how much energy from your members you're going to be able to bring towards this industry. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is the synergy. I'm excited for you guys.
Yeah, me too. So it's Moms in Automotive. Yep, it's a Facebook group. So if you know any moms in automotive, just have them join.
Yeah, so it's right here. It's Moms in Automotive. And by the way, so Trish and Toni Anne, you got to get everybody you can to like the group page and the Facebook page and try to start getting the group going. Okay?
Yep, we're on it.
All right, guys. Listen, it was a pleasure having you on the show. I appreciate you.
Thank you. We appreciate you too.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you like it, you love it, you want more of it, then don't wait for the next money show. Just go to bradleyondemand.com and take your career to the next level.